Last time that we watched a Reaper video, I said that I wanted to watch his entire series of videos breaking down the Acolyte, but look, it was 50 minutes for the first 2 episodes, so I didn't really want to do more in one sitting, but it is kind of fun. So we are back to watch his next video in the Acolyte series called The Acolyte Episode 3, Stupid Lesbians in Space. What we'll be doing for this time as well is a suggestion from Awesome Pig the Cape Crusader 663. This person did suggest that we should do a bingo card next time that we watch one of the videos. So, welcome to the Reaper Acolyte bingo card. I just rewatched the last video that he did and just took out some of the pieces that I thought would be funny and might actually pop up again. So we'll be ticking these off while we watch his next video. This one is 5 minutes shorter, so I mean, based on the length of the last one, that would mean like this might only be 40 minutes. I really hope not. I really hope this is like a 20-minute video or something. Let's watch this video and see what Reaper has to say about episode 3 of The Acolyte.
The third episode of The Acolyte has come out, and surprising absolutely no one, it's cat shit. It continues Disney's trend of retconning and destroying pre-established Star Wars lore.
I really hope they clarify what they're retconning here, because I didn't really notice anything. Could be me.
Because Star Wars is nothing more than a Trojan horse to these people. It's only meant to push the showrunner's dogshit social messages, even though no one wants to hear it.
I really should have put that on the bingo card. I really should have put pushing messages.
The entire episode is embarrassing to watch, as it's about an all-female witch cult that can use the Force like it's magic, which doesn't really surprise anyone at this point, since the Force can literally do anything the writers needed to do.
There's one. Let's go. Force is used wrong. That's the first one on the bingo card, baby. We got one.
Like giving people Force tattoos as a lazy way to distinguish which twin is which.
Christ, who wrote this?
I really wonder if he uses different clips in between. Like, this is the second time I've ever watched one of his videos. He used the same one last time. So I really want to know if he, like, spices it up or if he just kind of recycles the same clips.
The writers continue to show no understanding as to how fire works, because last episode we had a campfire in space where there is no oxygen. And in this episode, somehow fire is able to burn solid stone like it's made out of cotton.
I think that counts as our second bingo card, nitpicking science of the world. I think we can take that there. Look, I could be wrong, but doesn't that look like wood? I get that it's supposed to be this old stone thing, but like, they've got some wooden furniture, wooden bed in there that you see. Like, it's fine.
But the cherry on top is that we find out that 2 lesbians are able to have children using the Force.
I think that also classifies in our bingo card as something that happened in past media makes no sense in this show. Let's tick that one off, because let's remember that Sheev, I think her name was Sheev. Sheev didn't do a big sex for Anakin to come out. It was just through the Force. But in this one, it's bad because 2 women.
Watching this show physically hurts my brain, but that's the problem. The people watching this shit have one.
Reaper says I'm smart! Woo! That means all my criticisms of him are valid! Woo!
And the people making this shit don't. It's the reason why they were hired in the first place. They're just a bunch of incompetent yes men that will do whatever Kathleen Kennedy tells them to do.
Oh shit, we've moved! The bad guy of this show isn't Leslie Headland anymore. It's Kathleen Kennedy. We've gone backwards in time. The bingo card's out. It's done.
But that's not the problem with the Acolyte, according to the shill media.
The shill media! The shill media! Holy fuck! I've never heard someone call it that before. Oh, that's so true. Every media outlet is paid by Disney. That's true.
No, the real problem with the show isn't because it's boring as fuck, or that the characters are unlikable, the bad pacing, the horrific dialogue, or the fact that everyone in this show delivers some of the most dullest and lifeless performances that I've ever seen.
You should watch Ahsoka. Ahsoka is way harder to sit through than this. If we're being real, this is not the worst Star Wars thing that's ever been made. Ahsoka is probably, for me, the most boring thing. I think just as well in Star Wars, the way that people talk to each other is kind of inherently a bit boring. Like I said last video, it happens in every movie. This is this is just the world that you're in. You have to kind of accept it. I'm not saying that, like, that's great. That's kind of just part of what you're in for.
No, the problem is, of course, the fans. They're the real problem with Star Wars because they just won't shut up and enjoy this boring slop that Disney is trying to shove right down their throats.
I should also clarify as well, this show has been cancelled. It was cancelled because of ratings. Like, to be fair, like, that's just what happened. The show fell off. When they're running articles talking about how, like, the show's, like, you know, how the fans are bad, the main star in this show, Amandla Steinberg, I can't remember what her name is. She was talking about this as well. The show got announced and immediately we started facing backlash. It was in production, we were facing backlash, and that's true. That was all happening, and you can, like, see that the show was just getting review bombed everywhere as soon as an episode came out. Realistically, it's just because of people like Reaper. As a fan of Star Wars, yeah, the fans are the worst part of Star Wars. There's been very few times where I've seen online people talking about Star Wars and I'm like, wow, they seem level-headed and good.
Down their throats.
It's a bold strategy, Cotton. Let's see if it pays off for him.
Okay, that's a new clip. I'm wondering as well, do we think that counts as Disney doesn't care about Star Wars? I don't think that does count, but I think that's like, we're verging on it.
Now, fan blaming is not anything new, as this has been going on since The Last Jedi, all the way through to Kenobi.
You're no Star Wars fan in my mind. There's no place for racism in this world.
What are you, gay?
Okay, so let's just clarify here. Ewan McGregor is gay because he thinks racism is bad. So alternatively, Reaper is a good person and a all-round reasonable guy because he thinks racism is good. I'm counting it. I don't
Not once has this ever worked, and yet they keep trying to do it. It's the definition of insanity to keep trying the same thing over and over again, expecting different results. Anyway, let's not waste any more of our time on this than we have.
Wait! Oh, I had that written down. I think I got rid of it. No! Oh no! Oh my god, dude, earlier today when I made this bingo card, I had written down waste any more time as one of them, and I got rid of it because I'm like, surely he wouldn't say it again. I can't believe I got rid of it. That's so annoying.
The entire episode is a flashback to the twins' childhood, and of course, they are already amazing with the Force.
Why is that a bad thing? Like, if they were being trained by the Jedi, as you see, like, with other kids in this show and in the series, the franchise as a whole, yeah, they can use the Force. They're not exceptional with the Force in this episode at all.
So the asshole twins start arguing with each other because May is using the Force to try and crush a see-through butterfly. Osha complains at her for doing this, even though she was trying to do the same exact thing 2 minutes earlier.
She froze it and then let it go. That's all she did. I don't know if she was trying to crush it.
Now it turns out that the asshole twins are actually a part.
I like that he really thinks that he's hitting a funny note on the asshole twins. You could have done so much better than that. Even like witch bitches. That's better than the asshole twins, because at least it rhymes.
Now it turns out that the asshole twins are actually a part of an all-female Force-using witch cult led by a black lesbian girl boss.
Dude, we get to cross off 2 with that. Reaper is so good to us. All right, so let's cross off show is gay, and then let's also cross off girl boss. You love a double up. This is going... I'm so happy we did this bingo card. Thank you, Minecraft Spider-Man.
But the least believable thing about this coven of witches is that it's a bunch of women coexisting peacefully without any complaints.
My god. Women always be bitching with each other, and I think that that's really gay. This just feels right to tick off after him saying that. I don't know. That just gives, like, the vibe of being right? Literally in that scene as well that you're showing, they're arguing about the right way to raise the child. He's just leaving out the context of what he's actually showing on screen. Because it literally is the exact opposite of what he's saying. That's crazy.
Now, you may be wondering, how does an all-female tribe survive more than one generation without dying out? Well, don't you know that biology is a social construct in Star Wars, and women don't need men to get pregnant?
Alright, well, if we didn't think it before, the nitpicking science of the world is definitely ticked off now.
I carried them.
I created them.
Dude, I don't know how people who regularly watch him don't get bored of the same clips, because he's used like 2 or 3 of the same ones, and you just see it and you're like, okay, yeah, all right, I know what this joke is. Now we just wait 5 seconds for this to be over until fuckface starts talking again. Sorry, just fuckface is funny.
Now that's bad enough, but it gets worse because they straight up rip off Anakin's Force conception, as the black lesbian girl boss has used the Force to conceive the twins with this alien woman, which also doesn't make sense. I mean, why do the kids look nothing like her? Why don't they have horns?
I don't know.
The reason why Anakin doesn't have a father is because he's the chosen one. He's unique, one of a kind, never to be repeated. Well, he was until Leslie Headland stole his origin and now has the black lesbian girl boss say the same exact thing that Anakin's mother does.
Now, I would love to give that a fundamental misunderstanding of Jedi/Sith, but I don't think I can, because it's not a misunderstanding of them, but just a misunderstanding of the show and the franchise. He's not the chosen one because he was born out of the Force. That's part of it. He's the chosen one because he was the one to bring balance to the Force, right? That's what he was doing. Actually, I just realized that we're contradicting a previous point. Just before, he was saying that they would never be able to actually create another child because biology doesn't exist. But now he's very much clearly saying that, like, yeah, I know that it's from the Force. I get how this is happening. More broadly, what I'm kind of saying is that, like, I don't think it's breaking anything by being like, oh, so this has happened before. That doesn't change Anakin's role. And I don't know if it is said that it's never supposed to be repeated again. It could very well be the case, but as far as I know, it's not.
And now has the black lesbian girl boss say the same exact thing that Anakin's mother does.
Where is their father?
They have no father.
Who was his father?
There was no father.
That's so fucking lazy.
They're 2 separate sentences. They're just saying the same thing because the circumstances are the same. So they give very similar answers. What kind of fucking criticism is that? Just for that, I'm going to tick off never gives an alternative way to better the show. I feel like that's a good tick for here because, like, what would you have preferred her to say? They don't have a father.
Anyway, these witches have chosen to settle on this planet outside the Republic since they are being persecuted because they can use the Force, or thread as they call it, and they want Osha and May to take part in a ceremony called the Ascension, which basically promotes them into being full-time witches.
I think that's the longest that Reaper's gone, being like solely factual of what's actually happened in the show. That's crazy. I've never seen him be so concise about plot before.
And on the night of the ceremony, we have a really cringe dance routine where every woman does this.
What the fuck am I watching?
All the women are involved in a ritual, and that's bad because women are bad. They're performing a ritual, and that's cringe. Okay. Oh, also we can we can tick off audio clipping, by the way. Let's just listen to this last part really closely.
What the fuck am I watching?
You hear that switch? You hear, like, if you watch the scene and listen really carefully, you can hear, like, a
children using the do whatever fans. They're one of a kind, never to be repeated. Well, he was lesbian girl boss say the same father.
Who was his father?
What the fuck am I watching?
Reaper, just some general advice. To fix that, all you need to do, let me actually just show you. So if we just have a listen to this, right? Heard anything of on Twitter. You hear that, like, little clap there? Of on Twitter. This is a way more emphasized version of it. Supposed to be cooking bacon. What that is when it's going from a sound wave to no longer a sound wave. So all you gotta do is you just gotta pull in the fade, just like one frame, and that's gonna set it to 0, which means that it's gonna go from sounding like this to sounding like this. Like, you can obviously adjust it. Maybe something like this is better. But yeah, so that's how you fix that. So now you can just know for, like, your next few videos, man. Like, from one YouTuber to another. That's how you fix those sounds. By the way, I hope that you know that now that I've mentioned it, you're never going to be able to unhear that sound in any video that you're properly listening to. So enjoy that.
The black lesbian girl boss then gives a speech where she complains about them being victims.
We were hunted, all because some would consider our power dark.
Geez, I wonder why they would think that. It's not like you dress in dark clothing.
There's another one. So this is our free space. If we just listen to him say clothing again.
It's not like you dress in dark clothing.
Pronouncing a word ending with ing with a K sound. Free space. By the way, also, like, you know, you can just assume that they probably didn't all dress like this. They probably didn't get the Force all of a sudden. We're like, I'm gonna dress in black robes. This seems like this is just for this ceremony, and I'm pretty sure as well in the rest, like in the episode before this scene, they're just wearing normal, regular clothes, and they're putting this on because this is the ritual, the ceremony, you know, with the gay dance that you don't like.
It's not like you dress in dark clothing, wander out into the woods in the middle of the night, howling at the moon like you're a fucking dog.
They don't wander into the forest in the middle of the night. They go to the top of a mountain, and when they are in the forest, it's the middle of the day.
And worst of all, you take kids with you far away from prying eyes. I mean, why would anyone make such a simple mistake?
They're their own children, by the way. Like, you're trying to make it, like, out like they're abducting kids, but these two kids are their own kids. I was at the park the other day, and I saw a man pushing a child on a swing. For fuck's sake, there's pedophiles everywhere in the park.
When, in reality, the witches are nothing more than a bunch of middle-aged women having a mental breakdown, which is completely normal.
The power of
I don't know why a traditional ritual in this tribe or whatever you want to call it, or this coven, is comparable to women having a breakdown. But also, dude, if you want to show someone having a breakdown, let's do this.
I'm a man! I'm a man!
There you are, child. There you are.
When there's a guy screaming in your face and your hands, why are you as a man putting your hands on another man's chest, by the way? Pushing against this guy and then breaking down into tears? That seems like more of a mental breakdown than just women having a big yell.
So the asshole twins are subjected to the ritual, where every witch shoots the Force into the black lesbian girl boss, charging her up like she's a battery, before she then shoots the Force into the sky, creating purple light.
Okay, what's the issue with that? I really hope he explains it, because I really want to know what the issue with this is.
She then grabs the purple light Force magic and uses it to give May a Force tattoo on her forehead.
Why?
Because it's part... Dude, am I crazy, or is it very clear that they're doing a ritual here? Can you not logically be like, some kind of marking is formed on the person's head? I guess that's a part of the ritual. Why are you putting the Family Guy Y in for that? It's very, evident in the show why that is happening.
The Force is just fucked at this point. I mean, Force tattoos, really? Sure, why not? Let's just add tattooing to the already enormous list of what the Force can do, because that's what Star Wars needs right now. More ridiculous Force abilities.
It seems like such a, purist angle to come at it, to be like, and the Force is already so fucked. Look at what they're doing with the Force. And it's like, okay, but what's wrong with expanding on that?
So before Osha can take the pledge to join the fraternity of feminists.
See, at least fraternity of feminists, there's some alliteration in that. The asshole twins, there's nothing. There's no rhyme. There's no alliteration. You can do better. I know that you could do better because you just did it. Have a little confidence in yourself. Take a little time to think about this. When you're scripting this out, just do one big read before you actually record it, just to see, you know? But not me. I'm doing this off of the dome. I'm putting in the exact amount of energy required to talk about one of your videos. I don't need to do that.
4 Jedi appear and interrupt the ceremony. Turns out that they've been spying on the witches all day, as earlier on, we can see Sol lurking behind a tree.
So there's the forest where they take the girls out in the middle of the day that he was saying earlier was them taking them out in the middle of the night. I guess he understands the difference now?
The Jedi reveal that they are here because they want to test the twins out for recruitment, and if they show any signs of Force sensitivity, the Jedi will just take the kids away.
What the fuck are you talking about, man?
Now we get to tick off fundamental misunderstanding of the Jedi, because for God knows how long, that is how the Jedi have worked. You literally showed a scene of Anakin before, where he's a child and he's being taken away for training. They make a point in that movie to say, well, he's too old. So obviously, yeah, they take kids when they're a lot younger to be Jedi. But in this show, oh, what the fuck? They're taking the children away from their mothers. They're gay mothers.
Now, there's 2 problems with this. 1, the Jedi don't just roll up and steal kids from their families.
They kind of do.
No, they offer the family a choice to never see their child again in the hopes of giving them a better life on Coruscant. And 2, these kids are far too old to join the Jedi Order, as they are even older than Anakin was when he joined.
The boy will not pass the Council's tests, Master. He's too old.
And we all know how that turned out. The Jedi don't take older kids because they've already formed attachments to their families, which these two clearly have.
Alright, cool. So I am going to tick off call something shown explained later in the season bad. Let's tick off that one. This is the equivalent of like watching like the first 20 minutes of a movie and then talking about how bad the movie is, you know? You haven't got the full picture yet. What later ends up getting explained is that the Jedi were worried because the kids were being trained in the Force, which, you know, is like seen as dangerous considering that the Sith exist. So the Jedi are obviously like very wary of the Sith coming back. So when someone is Force sensitive, they want to bring them into the fold of like the good guys, right? And also like the idea of them being like given this like very difficult decision. It's like, yeah, every youngling's parents get given that choice. The kid goes with the Jedi and becomes a Jedi, or they don't. What critique is that they have to choose? That there's an option in front of them? Like what's the critique on that?
So there is absolutely no way they would take these girls with them.
Besides the reason that's given later on, but he doesn't know that yet because, again, he's criticizing this show before he knows the entire context of this show.
But I guess that's the point of this whole show, to make the Jedi look like assholes.
Yeah. It is. You got one thing right.
So they force the witches into letting the kids take their tests.
They kind of don't force them. The witches don't want them to do it, but then Osha wants to do the test to be a Jedi, and the Jedi are like, well, hey, you know, she wants to do the test, so I can almost give you that, but you're still wrong by just presenting it directly like that.
Before that, though, black lesbian girl boss goes on to overpower the only white male character in the entire show, whose only existence is to be a punching bag for the strong female characters.
So he's a Padawan, by the way. So you can make the argument that it's like she just chose the weakest one out of 3 Jedi Masters and 1 Padawan. I love the attachment of like, there was the scene in the first episode where it's like, oh, what? There's not a single white guy that's in this group of younglings being trained. And now in this scenario, it's, oh, what? The white guy that's in this scene that I really was very upset that there wasn't one in the other scene before. This one is now actually having something to do with the plot. Disgusting.
I am shocked. Shocked. Well, not that shocked.
I don't understand how the people who regularly watch his videos don't just see like the first frame of the cutaway that he's doing and then be like, oh, okay, that's what it is. Like, you just see it and you switch off. You know what the joke is. The punchline's done.
She easily takes control over his mind and somehow makes his eyes black, because that's another thing that the Force can do now. This scene is pointless and is only here to give the black lesbian her girl boss moment.
It's so integral to the scene. It's so integral to the show. It's also so integral to what happens next. That's so stupid. This scene is showing that the Coven doesn't want Osha to join the Jedi, but the mother is like, okay, well, I guess have a go. It shows that this mother is very much like, if this is what you think is best, then you should do it. And the other one being like, no. It's showing that everyone is against Osha joining the Jedi, except for her. That's it. That's what this is showing, and it's very integral to what happens next. You know what? Writing bad misunderstands the character's motivations. I think that's a good one. Oh, look, we got bingo. Let's see how many more bingos we can get.
If you want your Padawan returned to his right mind, I suggest you all leave.
No one likes you!
You also showed a scene where the kid is saying, I love you too.
The next day, May intentionally fails the Jedi test by lying, which shouldn't be possible since the Jedi can read minds. But whatever.
They have to go out of their way to read minds. I don't think that they just sit there all the time, because then, like, why would they have a conversation? They could just communicate telepathically to one another.
It doesn't matter, as they discover this when Osha takes her test, and she ends up telling the truth and passes. Afterwards, May demonstrates her psychopathic behaviour as she tries to stop her sister from leaving.
You can't stop me. Yes, I can. How? I'll kill you.
You're not leaving me. You try to leave me and I'll kill you, bitch.
Yeah, that is the scene. Was that South Park cutaway necessary? Did you just want to add a joke in because you couldn't think of a joke?
She then locks her in a room and attempts to burn her alive.
Why? As you just literally saw 10 seconds ago in this video, she's upset that Osha's leaving her and she said, I'll kill you.
Now, besides May being an absolute piece of shit even when she was a child, how is May able to set fire to a stone door?
Why? I tell you why.
I don't know.
Okay, that was great. That's a great cutaway. That really added a lot to the show. Thank you. That really added a lot of context to this video that I'm watching and really, up to the game on that. Thank you.
Osha manages to escape the fire as her room has a conveniently placed secret tunnel in it. That's weird. A strange cult that has secret tunnels built underneath where they pray and is hated by everyone. Now, where have I seen that before?
That's thrown a massive spanner into the works. I have no idea of where Reaper sits on the political spectrum anymore. Like, do you think he's pro or against Israel based on that, Because if he's paying out the Jews in this way and that, I would have expected him to be a real pro-Israel guy. What the hell's going on here? Oh, wait, no, because they're a minority group and it's easy to make fun of them. That's because it's minority. That's why he doesn't like the Jews. Sorry. I thought he might have actually had some kind of moral or ethical dilemma with what's happening in the world. But no, it's just because, haha, look at them. They got tunnels. They're Jewish, by the way. There's another easy target for me to make fun of. Yeah, great. No, that's good, man.
So, because of a plot contrivance, the tunnel leads directly to a massive generator room.
Could be an exhaust vent.
Wait, are we just supposed to believe that 30 witches who spend most of their time hunting have managed to build and maintained a giant generator?
I don't believe you.
In this scenario, are you also not believing that they have lights? I know that we saw a candle of fire burning, but they have technology.
This makes even less sense, especially since they've left the Republic, as where would they even get the parts necessary to do all this?
Build?
So because of a fire that May caused, the generator somehow explodes, leaving both May and Osha standing on a platform torn in half.
It's almost like you're missing context of part of the story here. I wonder if on or about episode 6 or 7, any kind of this void that you're seeing in this story ends up being filled in. I wonder. That would be really stupid if you were judging this based off of what is immediately in front of you and not a broader concept of what actually happens in this show. That'd be crazy.
A rift has physically come between them. Get it?
What's wrong with visual storytelling? This is like saying that when lighting is nice and colorful and warm and that's showing a happy scene, that's bad. That's too in your face. What are you talking about? Why is that bad? I really wish that he would explain it, but he won't.
I bet that the writers were coming in their pants when they wrote this scene, thinking that they were so clever for doing this, when in actuality, this entire scene is retarded. May then says,
you don't want to give a reason why, you don't want to talk about why, you don't want to explain yourself so then people can think that you're really smart.
As that their mother is dead and blames Osha for causing all of this.
Yeah.
What have you done? What have you done? What have you done?
You're both just awful.
Why? Why are they both awful? Let's break down what's happened here. Osha is fed up being stuck on this planet, and then visitors from another planet come, and she's like, I want to go with them. I want to do more with my life than just this. And then you have May, who is like, no, I want you to stay here. I'm going to kill you, and I'm going to burn this whole place to the ground out of rage. Both of them seem equally bad, don't they?
Besides being a bad actor, May is a fucking idiot.
Leah Brady is 11 years old. You're criticizing the acting of an 11-year-old. This kid isn't even in high school yet, but they're a terrible actor and they should be criticized like a regular adult. Who fucking picks on a kid?
Because how could she possibly think that this is anyone else's fault but hers? She's the one that caused the fire trying to kill her sister.
Okay, again, let's peel back the most basic kind of subtext here. Osha is saying that it's May's fault because May's burning the place down. That's the basic kind of concept that Reaper has gotten from this, right? If you go one step deeper, May is saying this is Osha's fault because if it wasn't for Osha passing the Jedi test and going to go join the Jedi, then none of this would be happening because the Jedi would just leave and everything would go back to normal. It's not a hard concept to grab. I genuinely don't think that someone who's like, you know what, I really like watching movies and TV shows. I'm gonna make a channel dedicated to reviewing and talking about these movies and TV shows. I can't understand how somebody with that in their mind can be so dog shit at breaking down basic ideas.
But the fire May started has actually managed to kill everyone else in this place except for the Jedi.
Well, you got me.
By all accounts, it doesn't make sense.
Again, it's almost like this gets explained later in the show. If you just waited 4 weeks to open your goddamn mouth, you would have the answer to this. And watch as well. Watch as soon as it gets explained and he does his video talking about that episode, he'll complain that it happened the way that it did and that it doesn't actually make sense the way that it's been explained, the way it actually happened. And this made more sense.
So the platform they're both on falls, but Sol manages to rescue Osha, and May drops what looks like several stories to her death. Or not, since she wakes up outside perfectly fine. How did she survive? Don't know. She falls to her death one moment, the next, she's teleported outside.
That's just lazy writing.
I'm gonna tick off someone dies, this isn't possible. I feel like that's close enough, right? Just wait a few weeks and you'll see exactly why. But no, we have to talk about the show immediately now as it's happening because woke has gone mad.
Osha and Sol try to leave the building.
If the ing with a K noise didn't count then it counts when he says building.
Try to leave the building, and on the way out they find all the dead bodies. What killed them? It wasn't the fire, as they are not burnt, and it couldn't have been the smoke since Osha and Sol are breathing perfectly fine. So what was it? Maybe they just died from embarrassment from doing this earlier on.
The power of
Do I have to say it? All you needed was 3 weeks.
The pair of them eventually escape as the stone mountain catches fire. Sol decides to take Osha with him to become a Jedi, and that's the end of episode 3.
Let's be very clear about this. He takes her to be a Jedi because her entire family just died.
This show gets more boring and much worse to watch with every episode that comes out.
You were complaining that you didn't know why things happened, and then you watched an entire episode that was context and exposition for why things happened, and now you're saying that is also bad. What do you want? What would make you happy in this show?
This entire episode was a giant waste of time, as all we learned was that May is an absolute psychopath, and somehow 2 women can get pregnant.
All you learned was that May is a psycho, and that 2 women can get pregnant. You didn't even watch the episode, and I think you have learned more than that.
Now, you're probably thinking that this is the low point of the season, but just like with all the other Star Wars shows that Disney shits out.
Alright, that's another one for the card. Disney doesn't care about Star Wars. Let's add that on there.
These things get much worse the longer they go on. So expect the next 5 episodes to churn out literal dog shit.
I haven't seen them, but I'm going into them with the thought that they're bad. That's gonna make me very level-headed in my review of the next few episodes.
Because Leslie Headland is on a mission to destroy Star Wars. The best way to summarize the show.
Yeah, I bet she is, man. I bet she wakes up every day and is like, how can I destroy Star Wars today? Just like Kathleen Kennedy did back when it was popular to say that. I'm sure that that's the case, man. You're really onto something with that one.
The best way to summarize the show is that it's like a turd that is circling around a toilet, simply refusing to be flushed.
Why? You have 6 seconds left of this video. I hope you get the explanation in there real quick.
Anyway, with all that said, that was episode 3 of The Acolyte.
It's a piece of shit.
Okay, man. Okay. I've got nothing to add. All I want to say is that there's, 5 by 5 things, so there's 25 squares here, and we got 16 of them. That's how predictable you are. I, from watching the last 2 videos, wrote down just what you said in the last 2 videos, and we got 16 of them again. Some of them being memes. This guy's critiques are just extremely predictable and extremely basic. They go against what he says half of the time. He just wants to be able to say a sentence and then move on so that next time that he speaks, he can pretend like the next sentence isn't contradicting what he just said. There's no, substantial criticism that he said yet. There's nothing that has really made me stop and think and go, that's a good point. He just wants to bitch and moan. Honestly, you could have a channel where all you do is bitch and moan, but stop masquerading like what you're saying actually means anything. You know what the best way to do it is? Just end it with, but what the fuck do I know anyway? Because then that just undercuts the thing of I'm not taking it this seriously. Because let's be real, you're taking it seriously. No matter how much you might say that you're not, you really are. Thank you very much for watching. I hope that you enjoyed yourself, and I hope that you can watch something or any kind of show and not be anywhere near as miserable as this prick. Have a good one. I'll see you later.